Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. Geopolitics. So, the latest news coming out of Ukraine for September the 12th is that the Russians have begun using Iranian drones in Ukraine. We heard rumors about this more than a month ago. The US, the White House, and the Pentagon said that the Russians had used the Russians had received their first shipment of Iranian drones, and the Russian troops were training in Iran to deploy these drones. But we hadn't seen them since then. We hadn't heard of anything since then, so I actually assumed that it might just be a rumor. But now we've received some confirmation. This is the first picture evidence we have. A few days ago, actually, according to this article, a few days ago, Ukrainian troops, they said that the Russians were using Iranian drones to target them, and they were hitting their positions. And this was in the Kharkiv region. And it seems that, just one second, in the Kharkiv region, and the Ukrainians, they claim that they have shot down an Iranian drone now, and that happened in Kupiansk. Right? They just took Kupiansk a few days ago. Anyways, so if we look at these pictures closely, if it loads, these are the remains of the drone that was shot down. It's actually a loitering munition, a suicide drone. So out of all this, the picture that matters the most is this, because this is actually a Russian loitering munition. It's similar to the drone that was just shot down. The UAV that was just shot down is called the Shahed 136, and compare this to this. This is a picture of the Shahed 136, and the Iranians actually use trucks to launch them. They use containers. They've modified a container here, and they launch them. They can also be individually launched, but anyways, look at right here. Look at the shape of this. Look at this little bulge sticking out, and then you see this, the shape of it, and the little bulge sticking out. So the Russians have rebranded it to, I don't know what this, to Geron 2. I think it in acrylic, if you translate it, it means Geron 2. So the Russians have rebranded it. But in any case, this is what the UAV looks like. And according to the U.S. sources, according to U.S. sources, the Russians have purchased hundreds of these drones, these suicide UAVs. They're similar to the Russian Kupiansk, but we haven't seen this used in quite a while. But yeah, these are the suicide drones that Russia has purchased from Iran, and they've also purchased this UAV, which is called the Mohajer 6, and this is actually capable of hitting targets with precision-guided munitions. It can carry up to 100 kilograms or 220 pounds of precision-guided munitions, and it can go a distance of 200 kilometers. So for Ukraine, for the type of considering that the airspace is contested and saturated with Ukrainian air defenses, and considering how, for the most part, the targets that are struck are not that far away from each other, and also considering the fact that these drones, these UAVs, are relatively cheap. I mean, this one is I think 1 to 2 million max, the cost of it. So for a situation like Ukraine, where more than likely these will be shot down, and to be effective they have to be used in large numbers, so Russia will have to saturate the airspace with these for them to be effective. For that purpose, these are perfect because they're effective. They've been proven to be effective in Yemen and Syria, even in Ethiopia, but yeah, they're low cost as well, so they're perfect for the job. But how Russia will use these, if they will use these effectively, it remains to be seen. But so far, all we know is that allegedly they struck a few targets, Ukrainian targets in Kharkiv, and one has been shot. One loitering munition so far has been shot down. But it's not a big deal because, I mean, loitering munitions, I mean, if they get shot down, they get shot down, right? I mean, they're suicide drones. They're one-time use anyways. So, in any case, the other news coming out of Ukraine right now is that the front line is mostly stable. The most activity that we see is here by the Seversky Donets River, and the Ukrainians, as you might know, they've crossed the river, and they've gone north, and they're trying to take the town of Liman, and they're basically so far they've failed, I think 3 or 4 times in the last 3 days. They failed to take Liman. Now the Ukrainians have made another move. They have taken the town of Viat. Just 1 second. Viatohirsk. I know I'm butchering that, but so they've taken this town, and from here their plan is to threaten Liman from the northwest, and also as well as the south. The issue for the Ukrainians is that this could just be a huge trap. Actually, the Russians might even give up Liman. I've heard that reinforcements have arrived in Liman just a few hours ago, but the Russians might even give it up to lure in more Ukrainian troops, because to get to this position, the Ukrainians have to cross the Seversky Donets River. The Seversky Donets River, and river crossings are always dangerous because the Russians could just blow these bridges at any time, right? They could destroy these bridges at any point, right? And when the Ukrainians when they liberated the Kharkiv region, there were a lot of bridges in this area, but the Russians didn't bother destroying any of them, which was really peculiar, but they just didn't. But that doesn't mean they won't, right? In any case, another thing I should mention in the Donetsk region is that the Ukrainians are trying to storm, and some sources say they have stormed, Bilohorivka. And this is part of a larger plan for them to go take Bilohorivka and then go towards Lysychansk. So take Liman, from Liman go east, and then eventually they want to go towards Lysychansk. The issue is Lysychansk is actually a decent-sized city, and it's right next to Severodonetsk. And to get to Severodonetsk, you have to cross another river. And the issue is that all of these, this entire plan is reliant on, depends on the Ukrainians crossing multiple bridges to go north and from Vyatorhirsk to go east. And so yeah, I mean, there's no river crossings here, but the Russians have actually been attacking Seversk for the last 2 months, so there's a saturation of Russian troops here. And all the troops that, again, the only positive out of losing this entire region you see in the blue, the only positive out of it for the Russians is that they were able to salvage 90 or more, the vast majority of their equipment and troops. Believe me, if the Ukrainians had been able to encircle the Russians and they had captured a large number of prisoners, they would have showed them off. If they had captured anything more than half a dozen or a dozen tanks and armored vehicles, they would have showed them off. We haven't seen any evidence of that, so we have to assume that most or all of the Russian troops in this region, in the Kharkiv region, made it to the Luhansk region. And so now they're all there. Reinforcements from Russia have arrived, and there's Russian troops. There's Russian troops right here anyways, all along this line, because some people call this the Zelensky line, but the Russians are trying to go for Soledar. They're trying to go for Bakhmut. Here, down here, Kodema, they fought for it for over a month. And these are really heavily entrenched positions. So the fact that they took Kodema was actually a big deal, because that allows them to threaten Bakhmut from the south, right? But as of now, since what happened a few days ago, since the Ukrainians went on the offensive and took the Kharkiv region, the Russians are mostly on the defensive. They're on the defensive here, from north to south, across on the other side of the Oskil River. And they're on the defensive pretty much everywhere. They're on the defensive here for Liman. And the forces here, if they're not on the defensive, then they're definitely on high alert. Anyways, there are many analysts who believe that the Ukrainians, they're actually, the next target actually will be this area right here. This area, and that their final goal is to go and retake Mariupol. We remember Mariupol, it was the Azov battalion held out for a very long time, and then they finally surrendered, and the Russians put out footage of all the prisoners they captured. So the Ukrainians, they definitely want to capture Mariupol. And if they're able to capture this area, the Russian bridgehead will be cut from Crimea, and the Russians will basically be isolated. One chunk in the one chunk in the Donbass, and one chunk of territory in the Kherson region, north of Crimea. So basically, yeah, the rest of the battlefield, the rest of the fronts are basically stable. Essentially, the Russians in Kherson have for the most part, been able to hold their positions. The Ukrainians have gained some territory, but very little. They've taken one village and a few hamlets. Hamlet is basically something like this, right? Where you have basically one street and then a couple houses, a few dozen houses at most. And in the Kherson region, in this area where the Ingolets River is, I've mentioned this before, but a trend has developed where the Ukrainians, they basically build pontoon bridges and they cross over to the south. They send reinforcements. The Russians don't do anything about it. And then when the reinforcements have actually gone over to the south, then the Russians destroy the pontoon bridges and they proceed to pound Ukrainian positions relentlessly. So that is a precarious situation the Ukrainians are in. And aside from that, they've taken the village of Vysokopilia right here, and a few hamlets here. Over here, Alexandrivka, the Russians actually control this, and the Ukrainians have tried half a dozen times to take this hamlet, but they failed every single time, and they've had to withdraw with the losses. So anyways, that's it, guys. That's it for today. Not that much to report on, but anyways, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Tell me what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.